these dinners, and by the mercy of Prabhupada and the Vaishnavas, I'm being allowed to serve in a particular way. So what I'd like to speak about very briefly is the power of vision. This is what Varnaka started talking about. And I'm going to start talking about the power of Lord Chaitanya's vision and how vision makes something happen, especially if one has faith in the spiritual master and faith in the Supreme Personality of Godhead. As Prabhupada would often say, that if you have faith in the words of the spiritual master and you follow the words of the spiritual master and the Vaishnavas, the success potency is built into that order. And then you can do the impossible. The impossible becomes possible. And let's start with Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Of course, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is definitely God, and he definitely has faith in God because he's God. But Chaitanya Mahaprabhu gave a specific prediction that basically seemed impossible at that time, which was that in every town and village, his name would be chanted. And that's pretty amazing. Because remember, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu appeared in West Bengal approximately 500 years ago, and there was no modern means of communication. And basically, the world was pretty separate. The different countries were separate like that. So how could that possibly happen? Then later on, Lord Nityananda predicted that there will soon appear a personality who he called a Senapati. Senapati means conquering general. And he said that what he didn't accomplish in terms of making the whole world Krishna conscious, he would send his Senapati out to all the places in the world to conquer them and turn them into Krishna consciousness. And of course, he was predicting in a very direct fashion His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. So then later, fast forward to Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur, who said that there will soon appear a personality who will bring everyone together in Sridham Mayapur, and they'll be chanting, Europeans. He didn't mention Australians, sorry. But he did mention Europeans and Americans, and I happen to be an American. So they'll be chanting Jai Sachinandana, Jai Sachinandana. And this is a visionary prediction. And in fact, he saw it happening, just like we were talking about the Kala Rupa, or the universal form, the Virat Rupa. So these personalities were able to see the future and see what's going to happen. So he predicted that, and of course Prabhupada appeared. But Prabhupada was dissuaded from his conviction that Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's name would be preached all over the world and the Westerners would be chanting and dancing, etc. He was even told by some of his godbrothers that this was just simply something metaphorical. It wasn't going to happen. And it was just like a nice poetic statement. In fact, he was discouraged from crossing the ocean. Sumati Moraji thought he was going to die having a heart attack, and he did have heart attacks on the way over. But one thing he stuck to was the order of his spiritual master, which, as I said before, contains the success potency of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And within a few short years, coming to America with basically no assets, we're talking about maybe $5 worth of rupees, which he never got a chance to change because there was no black market in rupees in America. And he just sat down, of course, first went to Butler, Pennsylvania, and then sat down into the park, the tree in Tompkins Square Park. Of course, that tree is now called the Prabhupada tree. If you go to New York, you'll see a plaque there. This tree is called the tree of Bhaktisiddhanta, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. And then eventually people were attracted, and he had this vision of so many temples, and that vision came true, and the vision of so many devotees, and that came true, and he accomplished something that was basically impossible. Because of one person's determination to follow the order of the spiritual master, to follow the order of the Vaishnavas. So here we have many people who are determined. So this is even better. And let me give my own personal example, because it was mentioned that I started a temple in a place called North Carolina. I'm sure none of you have heard of that state in the United States, although the state has as many people in it as the whole country of Australia, just to let you know. You know, there's like 10 or 12 million people in this state, and how many people in Australia? 20? All right, so it's about half the size of Australia. So in any case, we went to one location that was very close to the universities. I wanted to set a temple up there. For a variety of reasons, I had become a little discouraged just serving as a sannyasi in a temple and just managing a temple and the day-to-day affairs. I wanted to do something dynamic for Prabhupada. And so I received the order from other Vaishnavas, yes, you should go somewhere where there's no Krishna consciousness and set up a temple. So I asked the devotees, can you send some people with me? And they said, sure. So they sent with me one of the laziest people I've ever met in my life. The only thing he knew how to do was go to the supermarket and buy soda. And when I sent him out on Sankirtan, he would, with candy to distribute to make some Lakshmi, he would eat all the candy. So it wasn't so effective. And then someone else was sent with me that had psychological challenges, to say the least. Multiple personality disorder. So more or less I was by myself. And so I had to learn many things. So I came to North Carolina and said, we're going to establish a temple no matter what. So what I did, first thing I did is I bought land with no money. You may ask how it's spent, I'll let you know later. So I did it. Somehow or other, promises, made friends, was able to buy the land with a promise to pay later. Okay. And so I sat down on that piece of land, learned how to use a chainsaw. You all know what a chainsaw is? Yeah. Chopped down some trees. Then used my previous expertise. I was camping out, so determined to do this mission for Srila Prabhupada. It's a vision, having a vision. I was camped out for the first year and a half in the middle of the winter, and as it's described before about snow, many of you have not seen snow. I was living in snow for a year and a half. And so what happened after that point is I thought, well, let me design a temple, see if anyone's interested in paying for construction. So I have some engineering background. Studied, as I mentioned, in Northwestern University. So I designed this temple, went to someone's house and said, well, you're interested in building this temple? Some of our Indian members. And first person, this shows the strength of determination. First person said, oh yeah, here's $10,000. So I went to someone else's house, he gave me $20,000, all the same day. And they said, whatever you need, we'll give you. And then we were able to build a temple. Okay, so we built the temple, basically laying the blocks ourselves for this temple. I did like 80% of the construction. Even though I'm a sannyasi, we can do things practically sometimes. Sometimes people ask me, do you drive a car, Maharaj? I said, of course, what do you think I am? I also know how to tie my shoelaces, too. So, anyway, so we built this temple, and we had the deity installation with basically no pujaris in the beginning, in 1985. So I was the head pujari also. Head pujari, head cook, temple president, head fundraiser, everything. And I just had one or two people helping me. So fast forward to now. So we had our most successful Janmashtami. And our situation is very, very similar to the temple you have planned. It's not in the city. What we did is we're close to the city, close enough so people can come, and we had land. So what that enabled us to do is to have facility, even when we didn't have a building, by putting up tents and other things like that for Janmashtamis. This last Janmashtami, for example, we had 10,000 people come. That's a lot of people. We had so many people come, we had to have parking, let's say 2 kilometers away, and shuttle buses going back and forth continually to take care of everybody. Amazing amount of people. I don't know how it happened. And guess what? I didn't have to take care of any of it. Because in the meantime, people joined our society, so our congregation is so strong that they organized the whole Janmashtami. We had children's booths. And in the future, when you get this temple built, you'll be able to do similar things because you have land. See, that's That's something that really attracts people, especially with families. Because when you have a city temple, that's nice for the young people who are unmarried, etc., who live in the city, like the CBD in Sydney. But when people grow up, they usually do get married. Although when we were brahmacharis, we thought nobody was going to get married. But people did get married. And they have children, and they need more space. So for festivals like Janmashtami, you can have booths set up, face painting, different plays happening in different places. We had tents all over the place. It was an amazing situation. So this is the sort of vision you should have, like giant festivals, holy festivals, bringing thousands and thousands of people to Krishna's lotus feet. There's a limit to what you can do now with the city temple. But once you build this temple, it'll be a tourist place. And you're going to be fulfilling Prabhupada's dream. And it will happen. There's no doubt about it. All you need is one determined person, and I see so many determined people here. We just maintain our determination, faith in the words of the spiritual master, faith in the words of the Vaishnavas, and nothing is impossible. Like Prabhupada said, I was there when Prabhupada said this. Prabhupada said, impossible is a word in a fool's dictionary. This is when Prabhupada, I was in Los Angeles, helping to print Prabhupada's books. And you all know the story that Prabhupada asked the devotees to print and arrange for the publication of 17 books in 2 months. Now that's impossible. And Prabhupada said to one devotee, his name was Ramaswar, that you should do this. Actually, it was in the press, I was right there. We were showing Prabhupada all the different equipment that we had just acquired. We had one of the first typesetters. I'm sure everyone knows what a typesetter is. It's a computer typesetter. And this type of typesetter, you use this punch tape. This is the old days. To program it. Not magnetic tape, not a floppy disk or a hard disk or anything like that. And so we were showing Prabhupada all that. We were very proud. Prabhupada looked around and he said to us, all this is useless if you can't produce 17 books in 2 months. And of course, Ramaswar said to him, that's impossible. And Prabhupada said, impossible is a word in a fool's dictionary. And then Prabhupada said, do it. And the devotee became so determined hearing Prabhupada's instruction, guess what? It happened. Every 2 weeks, and if you divide up 17 books, there were like 4 books being offered to the deities. With pictures of them, with paintings, edited, and first-class printing. Imagine that. I mean, right now I'm trying to publish a book, and I've been working at it for 2 years, and I can't even get it edited. It shows the strength of my determination. Anyway, so, but the devotees did that because of the faith. What do they say? Faith moves mountains. So if we have faith in this project, and there are many of you who do, and I do too, because I see the strength of the community here. It will happen. It already has happened, as Sripala just mentioned. Thank you for that. It has already happened, and you can just get the benefit of helping with this. Otherwise, you're going to sit on the side and just watch it happen. As they say, some people wonder what happened, and some people make things happen. So we should be the type of person or people that make things happen. And then we get Krishna's credit, we go back to home, back to Godhead, and then Krishna will have a temple for you in the spiritual world in Goloka Vrindavan. Okay? Thank you very much. All glories to the Divine Grace. Shri Prabhupada, Shri Prabhupada ki jai.
Can we get another round of